Over 1 billion ice cream cones are produced every year, and that's just to keep up with demand. From theme parks to neighborhood scoop shops, cones are one of the most popular ways to enjoy ice cream, making up a huge slice of the market. But have you ever stopped to think about how these crispy little holders are actually made? What kind of machines roll them, bake them, and pack them without breaking a single one? Well, let's uncover it all here at the Process World. Before factories took over, ice cream was usually served in bowls or wrapped in paper. Until one day in 1904 at the St. Louis World's Fair, a quick-thinking waffle vendor named Ernest Hamwee rolled a waffle into a cone to help out an ice cream seller who'd run out of dishes. That simple move created the first modern cone and changed how ice cream would be served forever. Even before that, though, the idea had been building. Agnes B. Marshall published a cone recipe in 1888, and inventors like Antonio Valvova and Italo Marchione were already dressing tools to mold cone-shaped treats. The idea spread fast. Ice cream cones became a street food favorite and quickly found their way into soda fountains and dessert shops. As demand grew, machines stepped up to take the load, turning what started as a hand-rolled waffle into a perfectly shaped, factory-made staple. But long before the rolling and baking even begins, there's one more step to get right: sourcing the ingredients that give the cone their crunch. First, there's the flour. Not just any flour will do. Factories use wheat flour with just the right amount of protein to hold the shape without turning tough. It usually comes from regions known for high-quality grain, like parts of the US, Canada, or Europe. Once delivered, the flour is tested for moisture, texture, and even color before it goes near the mixing room. Next up is sugar. Cone recipes vary, but the sugar used is usually white and fine, helping the cone caramelize and stay crisp. Some recipes also use brown sugar or corn syrup, depending on the flavor and texture they're aiming for. The sugar is sifted to remove lumps and then stored in dry temperature-controlled silos. Then there's the oil. Vegetable oils like canola or soybean are common since they handle heat well and don't affect the cone's taste. These oils are filtered before use to make sure that they're clean and stable during baking. Finally, water joins the list, but even that's treated. Most factories use reverse osmosis systems to purify it, removing minerals that might throw off the batter's balance. Each ingredient is checked, filtered, and stored in airtight systems to keep out moisture and contamination. Once the ingredients are cleared and ready, it's time to create the base of the cone: the batter. This is where precision starts to matter even more. Everything is loaded into giant stainless steel mixers in carefully measured amounts. First, the dough ingredients like flour and sugar go in. Then the purified water and filtered oil are added slowly to keep the consistency smooth and lump-free. The mixers spin at set speeds to avoid overworking the flour. If it's too hard, the cones turn out dense. Too soft, and they break apart later. So the timing and speed are monitored down to the second. Some factories even use temperature sensors inside the mix to make sure that everything stays cool while blending. Once the batter is ready, it's moved into holding tanks where it rests. The resting period is short but important. It gives the flour time to absorb the liquid, which helps the cones bake evenly and hold their shape. From here, the batter is pumped directly into the baking section through a system of pipes that keep it sealed and clean. No air, no moisture, no contamination. Just fresh, ready-to-bake batter flowing straight to the next stage. Now that the batter is ready, it's time to turn it into something crisp and golden. That's where the baking carousel steps in. This is a huge rotating machine with rows of heated molds, each one shaped like a flat waffle. As the carousel spins, the batter is poured into each mold automatically, just the right amount every time. The plates clamp shut and the batter starts cooking. The heat is intense, usually between 180 and 220 degrees Celsius. Each cone gets about 90 seconds to bake. That short window is enough to give the cone its crunch, light flavor, and sweet aroma. The machines run non-stop, baking hundreds of cone wafers every minute with precise timing. Some molds even have tiny ridges or embossed patterns to add texture or branding right into the surface of the cone. This all happens while the batter is cooking, so the design is baked in, not stamped on later. As the carousel keeps moving, the baked waffles are released while they're still warm and soft enough to shape. At this point, they don't look like cones yet, they're just flat, flexible wafers. As soon as those flat waffles leave the baking plates, the clock starts ticking. They're soft, warm, and ready to be shaped, but only for a few seconds. That's where the cone rolling machines come in. These machines are fast and accurate, gripping the edges of each waffle and rolling them into the perfect cone shape in one smooth motion. The rollers are designed to apply just the right pressure. Too much and the cone cracks, too little and it doesn't hold its shape. Every rotation is timed so precisely that the process feels almost effortless, even though it's handling hundreds of cones every minute. Once rolled, the cones pass through a short cooling tunnel. Fans blow cool air across them to help them harden quickly while keeping their structure intact. This step is just as important as the rolling. If the cone cools too slowly, it can turn soggy. If it cools too fast, it might lose its crunch or develop cracks. By the end of this process, the cones are firm, evenly shaped, and ready for the next stage. No extra coatings, no artificial shaping, just heat, timing, and mechanical precision. Now that the cones are perfectly formed, they still need one final thing before they can be packed up: a quality check. Even with all the precision earlier, things can still go wrong. A cone might be slightly underbaked, have a tiny crack at the top, or lose its shape during cooling. So factories use both human eyes and smart cameras to catch anything that's not up to standards. Some factories have trained inspectors watching the cones as they move down the conveyor. Others use high-speed vision systems that can scan cones in milliseconds. These systems check for shape, size, texture, and even color. If something is off, the cone gets pushed off the line immediately. There's also random testing. Workers pull cones from the line and break them open to check the texture inside. Others are taste tested to make sure that the flavor hasn't changed from batch to batch. Even the crunch is measured using pressure tests. Any defective cones are removed and never make it to packaging. Some are recycled as animal feed if safe, while others are discarded depending on the type of flaw. By the end of this stage, only the best cones move forward. They're consistent in size, golden in color, and crisp all the way through. Now that they've passed inspection, it's time to pack them up for stores, freezers, and scoop shops around the world. This step might look simple, but it's carefully planned to protect every cone from damage. Cake cones, which are a bit sturdier, are usually stacked one inside another. They're wrapped in clear paper to keep them clean and then loaded into cardboard boxes. The stacking saves space and helps prevent them from shifting during transport. Waffle and sugar cones need more care. They're more delicate, so each one is placed into a plastic sleeve or a tray with separate slots. This keeps them from cracking while being moved or stored. In some factories, robots handle the packing, placing each cone with perfect precision. Others use conveyor belts and guides that gently push them into their packaging. After the cones are packed, the boxes are sealed and labeled with batch codes, production dates, and tracking info. That makes it easy to trace where each box came from and if there's ever an issue. Every box then moves into a holding area where it waits to be shipped. And once loaded onto trucks, the cones begin their journey, heading to grocery stores, restaurants, ice cream trucks, and scoop shops all over the world. So now that you've seen how a simple cone goes from raw flour to a perfectly rolled ice cream holder, here's a thought. If factories can make over 1 billion of these every year without crumbling under pressure, what other everyday snacks are hiding high-speed secrets behind the scenes? Share your thoughts in the comments section below.